WE will push every inch inside you, the billionaire twins promise their trembling virgin wife. Hello everyone, before we begin today's story, I have a small favor to ask. Please hit ***, subscribe ***, and turn on the *** notification bell *** so you never miss our channel's new videos. It's quick, free, and the best way to support us in bringing you more dramatic stories. Your support means the world to us. Where are you watching from? Drop your city or country in the comments below. Thank you very much. Now, let's dive into today's tale of unexpected twists, love, and a contract marriage. Our story begins with a chance encounter that leads to a marriage neither side expected, and neither thought they would fall for. Let's see how it unfolds. ***, Emma Brooks wasn't sure what she was doing in this fancy restaurant, sitting at a table she didn't belong at. She adjusted her second-hand dress nervously, noticing the difference in how she looked compared to the polished guests around her. The warm glow of the lights above and the hum of soft conversation in the background only reminded her how out of place she felt. Her shoes were scuffed, her nerves were on edge, and her heart was racing. She had promised Jenny she would go through with this blind date, but she couldn't shake the feeling that this wasn't where she was supposed to be. As she walked across the restaurant, scanning for her date, she mumbled to herself, "Table 7. Table 7, her heartbeat thudded louder in her chest as she finally spotted a sharply dressed man sitting alone at the back of the room. His dark hair was neatly styled, and he looked so out of place in the casual world she was used to. That has to be him, she thought. Taking a deep breath, she walked toward him, forcing a bright smile despite her nerves. "Hi, you must be Kevin," she said, sitting down across from him, trying to sound confident. Liam Parker looked up, startled, blinking as he took her in. He was confused but didn't say anything right away. He glanced at her for a moment before replying, "Hi Emma." Emma smiled awkwardly, thinking he was just shy. "I know, blind dates are weird, right?" she laughed nervously, fiddling with her napkin. "Jenny told me you might be a little quiet, so don't worry. I can talk enough for both of us." Liam opened his mouth, ready to correct her, but something about her earnest smile made him hesitate. He didn't usually entertain these things, but there was something refreshing about her simplicity compared to the polished socialites he usually spent time with. He leaned back in his chair, a faint smile tugging at the corner of his lips. "Right, blind dates are something else." They shared a brief laugh, and as Emma continued talking, she nervously asked, "What do you do?" He hesitated, not sure how to respond. "I work in tech," he said vaguely, hoping that would be enough for now. Emma's face lit up, though she wasn't exactly sure what tech meant. "Tech? That's cool. Like coding and apps and stuff? I'm terrible with computers." She chuckled, her nerves easing a little. "Something like that," he replied, a small smile creeping onto his face as he watched her ease up. The conversation went on smoothly after that, with Emma sharing stories from her life as a waitress, her struggles with paying rent, and her dream of one day opening an art studio. Liam, who was used to people speaking about their business dealings and extravagant plans, found her honesty and openness unexpectedly charming. He laughed more than he had in months, enjoying the conversation. "You're not what I expected," Emma said suddenly, her tone turning thoughtful. Liam raised an eyebrow, intrigued. "What do you mean?" "Well, Jenny said you were reserved, and I thought you'd be a little more stiff, you know? But you're easy to talk to," she said, blushing a little. Liam chuckled softly, his smile widening. "You're easy to talk to too." Just as Emma was about to ask him more about his work, her phone buzzed. She glanced down at the screen and felt her stomach drop. "Hey, Emma, where are you?" "I'm at table 7, looking forward to meeting you, Kevin." Her cheeks flushed with embarrassment, and she looked up at Liam, her voice barely above a whisper. "You're not Kevin, are you?" Liam's smile faltered, guilt flickering in his eyes. "No, I'm not." Emma's face turned bright red as she quickly stood up, her heart racing. "Oh my God, I'm so sorry. I sat at the wrong table. This is so embarrassing." She grabbed her coat in a panic and bolted for the door. Liam stood up as well, watching her leave, a strange mix of regret and curiosity swirling inside him. He had intended to correct her from the start, but something about her made him hesitate. He couldn't stop wondering if he would ever see her again. The thought of not seeing her again bothered him more than he cared to admit. Liam sat in his penthouse suite later that night, looking out at the glittering New York City skyline. The usual comfort of the city lights did little to ease his mind. Instead, his thoughts were on Emma. He couldn't stop replaying their conversation in his head, her sincerity and warmth standing out starkly against the polished world he was used to. Emma had thought he was someone else, someone ordinary, and that had made her open up in a way he hadn't experienced in a long time. For the first time in months, he felt curious, and the thought of never seeing her again was unsettling. He wasn't sure why, but something about their encounter felt different. It had been a few days since Emma's awkward encounter at the restaurant. She couldn't stop thinking about Liam Parker, the man she'd mistakenly met. Her mind kept replaying that moment when she ran out, embarrassed and confused. She hadn't expected to feel that kind of connection, especially not with someone she thought was just another random person at a blind date. Yet, there was something about him, something genuine in his eyes, the way he listened without judgment, and the way he didn't mind her nervous rambling. She couldn't help but feel a strange pull toward him. As the days passed, Emma tried to move on, convincing herself it was nothing but a silly mistake. But the thought of Liam lingered, and she couldn't shake it. Was it possible that she had felt something real, even if it had been a complete misunderstanding? It was a rainy afternoon when Emma's phone buzzed, interrupting her thoughts. She glanced down at the screen, her heart skipping a beat when she saw the message. It was from an unknown number. "Hi Emma, it's Liam. I know this is a little strange, but I was hoping we could meet again. I really enjoyed talking with you the other night, even if it was under strange circumstances. How about a cup of coffee? Let me know what you think." Her fingers hovered over the screen, unsure of how to respond. She hadn't expected to hear from him again, especially after everything that had happened. But the message was polite, sincere, and it made her wonder if there could be more to this than just an accidental meeting. After a moment of hesitation, she typed a quick reply. "Hi Liam, it's nice to hear from you. Coffee sounds good. How about tomorrow afternoon?" She hit send before overthinking it. She had no idea where this could go, but part of her was curious to find out. Part of her, though she couldn't admit it to herself yet, was excited. The next afternoon, Emma arrived at the cafe, her heart fluttering with nerves. She had no idea what to expect, but when she walked in and saw Liam already seated at a corner table, a sense of calm washed over her. He was dressed casually, wearing jeans and a simple sweater, looking far less polished than she remembered from their first meeting. He smiled when he saw her, his expression warm and inviting. "Hi, Emma. Thanks for agreeing to meet up." She smiled back, feeling the tension in her shoulders ease. "No problem. It's good to see you again," she said, sliding into the seat across from him. They ordered their drinks, and the conversation picked up effortlessly. This time, there were no misunderstandings, no awkward moments. They talked about everything, her dreams of opening an art studio, his work in tech, and their shared love of coffee. Emma found herself laughing more than she had in weeks, enjoying the easy flow of their conversation. As they talked, she started to notice the subtle details that made him different from the other people she had met in her life. His kindness wasn't just a surface-level act, it was genuine. He listened when she spoke, asked thoughtful questions, and didn't rush her. "I've got to admit," Liam said after a while, his eyes softening, "I'm really glad we met, even if it was in the most unusual way." Emma nodded, a small laugh escaping her. "Yeah, it definitely wasn't what I expected. But I'm glad we're doing this. It feels like it was meant to happen, even if it started as a mistake." There was a pause, and then Liam looked at her with an intensity she hadn't expected. "I'm glad too. I've been thinking about you since the other night. There's something about you, something real. I don't usually feel this way about people I meet, but with you, it's different. Emma's heart raced, her cheeks flushing slightly. She hadn't expected him to say something like that. For a moment, she felt as though the world around them had faded away, leaving just the two of them. "You really think that?" she asked, her voice barely above a whisper. He smiled, his eyes never leaving hers. "Yeah. I do." The moment lingered, and Emma felt herself begin to relax in a way she hadn't in a long time. For the first time, she realized that maybe, just maybe, this was the start of something more than just a chance encounter. But as the conversation continued, Emma couldn't shake the feeling that there was something he wasn't telling her. There was a mystery about him, something he was keeping hidden. She didn't know why, but she felt like it was only a matter of time before the truth came out. As they said their goodbyes and Emma walked out of the cafe, she couldn't stop thinking about the connection they'd shared. But deep down, she couldn't help but wonder if she was falling for someone who was just too good to be true. Would the truth change everything? It had been a week since Emma's last meeting with Liam, and she couldn't shake the feeling that something was changing inside her. She tried to focus on her daily life, but her thoughts kept drifting back to him, to the way he made her feel understood, the way his smile made her heart skip a beat. She had never been one to get easily swept up in emotions, but with Liam, it felt different. She had to admit it to herself, she was starting to like him, and maybe more than just as a friend. Still, she couldn't quite get rid of a nagging feeling that something wasn't right. She had met people before who were charming and kind, only to find out that they had ulterior motives. She didn't want to jump into something too quickly, especially with someone like Liam, who clearly had a world of his own. Her phone buzzed, and she glanced at the screen. It was a message from Liam. "Hey Emma, I know this is a bit sudden, but I was hoping to talk to you about something. Can we meet tonight? I promise it's important. Let me know." Her heart raced as she read the message, a mixture of excitement and anxiety swirling inside her. She hadn't heard from him in a few days, and she wondered what he wanted to talk about. Was it about their last meeting? Or was it something else entirely? She quickly replied, agreeing to meet at the same cafe they had met last time. The minutes seemed to drag as she waited for the evening to arrive. When she finally walked into the cafe, she saw Liam sitting at a corner table, looking just as handsome as ever. He was dressed casually, but there was an air of something serious about him that made her feel nervous. He stood up when she walked in, offering her a small but warm smile. "Hey, thanks for meeting me," he said, his voice a little more serious than usual. "Of course," Emma replied, taking a seat across from him. She tried to smile, but the tension in the air was undeniable. "What's going on, Liam? You said you wanted to talk about something important." Liam took a deep breath and looked at her with a seriousness she wasn't used to seeing in him. "There's something I've been meaning to tell you," he began, his voice low. "Something I should have said earlier, but I didn't know how to." Emma's heart skipped a beat. She had been wondering what he was keeping from her, but she had no idea it was this serious. "What is it?" she asked, her voice almost a whisper. Liam looked down at his hands for a moment, gathering his thoughts before meeting her eyes again. "Emma, I'm not just a guy who works in tech. I'm the CEO of a company. And I've been hiding that from you because I wanted to get to know you without you knowing about all that." Emma felt a rush of surprise and confusion. The man she had been talking to, the one who seemed so down-to-earth and genuine, was a CEO? She couldn't believe it. All this time, she had thought he was just a regular guy, someone she could connect with on a deeper level. But now, the truth was out. He wasn't just anyone, he was someone with power, wealth, and a life she couldn't have even imagined. I don't know what to say," Emma said, feeling a mix of emotions. She had liked him so much, and now everything seemed so complicated. Was he only interested in her because of some hidden agenda? Was she just another conquest in his world of business and status? Liam reached across the table, gently touching her hand. "I should have told you earlier, but I didn't want you to think I was using my position to get to know you. I wanted you to know me for who I am, not just for what I have. I like you, Emma. I really do. And I wanted to be honest with you about everything, no matter how complicated it might make things. Emma looked at his hand on hers, feeling the sincerity in his touch. She had wanted honesty, and now she had it. But the truth left her feeling more uncertain than ever. Could she trust him? Was it possible that someone like him could genuinely care about her, despite all the wealth and power that came with his name? I don't know, she said, pulling her hand back slightly, her voice shaky. This changes everything. I thought we had something real, but now I don't know what to think. Liam's face fell slightly, and he nodded. I understand. I know this is a lot to take in, but I want you to know that I'm not asking you to change anything about how we've been. I just wanted you to know the truth. I care about you, Emma. And I want to give this a chance, if you're willing. The words hung in the air between them, and Emma sat there, her mind spinning. She had wanted the truth, but now that it was out, she wasn't sure what to do with it. She had never been good at dealing with the complexities of relationships, especially not with someone who came from a world so different from hers. But Liam's sincerity, his vulnerability, made her hesitate. Maybe there was something real here, something worth exploring. But was she ready to take that leap? Emma sat across from Liam, her heart racing as his words echoed in her mind. He had just confessed the truth, revealing that he was not just a regular guy in tech, but the CEO of a company. The world she had been slowly getting comfortable in, one where she could talk openly, laugh without any expectations, and just be herself, was suddenly replaced with a reality that felt foreign and overwhelming. Liam was a billionaire, someone who belonged to a different world, a world she had only ever dreamed of. How could she fit into that? How could someone like her, struggling to make ends meet, belong in his life? She took a deep breath, trying to steady herself. I don't know what to think right now, she admitted, her voice shaky. I thought we were building something real, Liam, something based on trust. And now everything feels so complicated. Liam's expression softened, and he leaned forward slightly, his eyes filled with sincerity. I understand how you feel, he said gently. And I'm sorry I didn't tell you sooner. But Emma, everything we've talked about, everything we've shared, that's real. It's not because of my wealth or my title. It's because of who we are, and how we connect. She wanted to believe him, she really did, but the doubt still gnawed at her. How could it not be about his money? She had seen the way people acted around him, the way they treated him differently because of his position. Was she just another person in his life he was testing to see if she was genuine? Or was he truly invested in getting to know her as a person? Liam, I'm not like the people you're used to, Emma said, her voice barely above a whisper. I don't have the same life, the same opportunities. I'm just trying to get by. I don't know if I'm ready for all of this, for your world. I've seen what happens when people get involved with someone like you. It gets messy, it gets complicated, and I don't want to be hurt. Liam's face softened with empathy as he listened to her, and for a moment, there was a quiet understanding between them. Emma, I'm not asking you to change who you are. I don't need you to fit into my world. I want you to be yourself, because that's who I'm drawn to. The girl I met, the one who's real and genuine, who made me laugh and made me feel seen. I'm not asking for anything but the chance to see where this can go. His words hit her like a wave. She had been so afraid, so uncertain about everything, but in that moment, she realized that maybe, just maybe, she had been holding herself back. She had been so focused on the differences between them, the wealth, the status, the worlds they came from, that she hadn't given herself a chance to just feel the connection. What if she was overthinking it? What if it was simple? What if they were just two people, with their own lives and their own stories, coming together in an unexpected way? She looked at Liam, really looked at him this time. He wasn't some distant billionaire, sitting on a pedestal, watching over her. He was just a man, someone who had shown her kindness and had been honest with her when it would have been so easy to hide behind his wealth. He didn't want to control her, he didn't want to change her. He just wanted to get to know her. Okay, Emma said, her voice steadying as she spoke. I'm scared, I'm really scared, but I'll give this a chance. I want to see where it goes, Liam. I can't promise everything will be easy, but maybe we can try, one step at a time. A smile spread across Liam's face, his eyes lighting up with relief and happiness. Thank you, Emma. That means more to me than you know. He reached across the table, taking her hand gently in his. I won't rush you, I promise. We'll take it slow, just let it happen. The way it's meant to. For the first time in days, Emma felt a weight lift off her shoulders. She didn't have all the answers, and she wasn't sure what the future held, but she knew she had made the right decision. She had taken a leap of faith, trusting her instincts, trusting Liam, and maybe, just maybe, this was the start of something real. As they sat there, hands clasped across the table, the world outside seemed to fade away. The worries, the doubts, the fears, they all faded into the background, replaced with a quiet hope. Emma wasn't sure where this journey would take her, but for the first time in a long time, she was willing to find out. The following week, Emma found herself in a whirlwind of thoughts and emotions. She and Liam had spent more time together, and the connection between them was undeniable. She wasn't sure if it was the whirlwind of excitement or the uncertainty of it all, but every time she saw him, her heart skipped a beat. Liam was different, gentle, thoughtful, and always present when she needed him. Their conversations flowed so easily, and with every shared laugh, every moment of vulnerability, she felt herself letting go of the walls she had built around her heart. Still, there was a nagging voice in the back of her mind, reminding her of the differences between their worlds. She came from a world of struggle, where every dollar counted and every decision was a risk, while he lived in a world of luxury, with endless opportunities and a life that seemed so far out of reach. Could they really make it work? Could their connection survive the differences that separated them? It was another evening when Liam asked her to meet him at his place for dinner. Emma was hesitant at first, unsure if she was ready to take that step into his world, but the invitation felt different this time. It wasn't a grand gesture, it was just Liam wanting to spend time with her. The thought of being in his penthouse made her nervous, but she agreed anyway. When she arrived, she was greeted by the doorman, who led her up to Liam's apartment. The elevator doors opened to reveal a stunning view of the city skyline. The apartment was beautiful, sleek, and modern, everything she expected from someone like Liam, but what struck her most was the feeling of warmth that seemed to fill the space. The place wasn't just a show of wealth, it felt like a home. Liam greeted her with a soft smile and a warm hug, and for the first time, Emma felt at ease in his world. He led her to the dining table where a simple, home-cooked meal awaited them. It wasn't fancy, just a quiet dinner, but it felt personal. They talked about everything and nothing, their conversation flowing naturally as they ate. Emma felt the distance between their worlds shrinking with every word, every glance. As they finished their meal, Liam stood up and walked over to the window, his eyes scanning the city below. "It's beautiful, isn't it?" he said, turning to look at her. "The view, the city, everything, it can all feel so empty sometimes." Emma joined him by the window, gazing out at the city lights. "I think I get it," she said softly. "You have everything, but sometimes it doesn't feel like enough." Liam looked at her, his expression softening. "Yeah, exactly. That's why I'm here, Emma. I'm not looking for more money or more success. I'm looking for something real. And I think I found it with you." Her heart skipped a beat at his words. He had said something similar before, but this time it felt different. There was no pretense, no hidden agenda. It was just the truth. The truth that, for once, wasn't about what he had or what she didn't, it was about the connection they shared. "You don't have to worry, Emma," Liam continued, stepping closer to her. "I know this isn't easy, and I know there are a lot of things that feel uncertain. But I'm here. And I want to be here for you, no matter what." Emma felt a lump form in her throat. She had been so afraid, so caught up in the idea of their differences that she hadn't allowed herself to truly feel what was right in front of her, a man who cared about her, who was willing to be vulnerable with her, and who wasn't asking her to change. He just wanted her. "I'm scared, Liam," she admitted, her voice shaky. I'm scared that I'm not enough for you. That this is all just a dream, and I'll wake up and realize that we're from two different worlds. Liam reached out, gently cupping her face in his hands. You are more than enough, Emma. Don't you see? You're everything I need. You don't have to be anything more than who you are. That's why I want to be with you. For the first time in a long time, Emma felt a sense of peace wash over her. Maybe they were from different worlds, but in that moment, it didn't matter. What mattered was that they had found something real, something worth fighting for. And maybe, just maybe, they could make it work. Together. As they stood there, wrapped in the quiet of the night, Emma felt a shift within herself. She wasn't sure what the future held, but for the first time, she wasn't afraid of it. With Liam by her side, maybe they could navigate whatever challenges came their way. The journey wasn't going to be easy, but it was a journey worth taking. And for once, she wasn't running away from it. She was ready to embrace it, whatever it might be. Weeks passed since Emma and Liam had that conversation, and as time went on, things started to feel more real between them. Their connection grew stronger with each passing day, and Emma began to let go of the doubts that had plagued her. She wasn't just falling for Liam, she was falling for the life they could build together. Liam was still the same thoughtful, kind man he had been when they first met, but now, she was getting to know the more complex layers of him, the man who carried the weight of his responsibilities with grace, the CEO who ran a massive tech empire, but who also cared for the people in his life in ways that surprised her. One evening, Liam invited Emma to an event that was important to him, an annual charity gala for a foundation he had started to support local artists. Emma had never been to something like this before. The thought of attending such a high-profile event made her feel nervous, but she knew this was part of his world, and she wanted to be there for him, to support him the way he had supported her. As the night of the gala approached, Emma felt a mix of excitement and anxiety. She spent hours picking out the perfect dress, knowing that she wouldn't be able to shake the feeling that she didn't quite belong in such a glamorous setting. But Liam had reassured her that she didn't need to worry about fitting in, he just wanted her to be herself. When she arrived at the venue, she was in awe of the sheer elegance of it all. The grand ballroom was filled with crystal chandeliers, floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the city, and a guest list that seemed to be a who's who of the city's elite. Emma felt out of place, but as soon as she saw Liam, all of her nerves seemed to fade away. He looked incredible, dressed in a sharp tuxedo, and his smile when he saw her made her heart flutter. "You look beautiful," he said, taking her hand in his as they greeted guests. Emma blushed at the compliment, feeling a little self-conscious in the opulent surroundings, but his warmth and reassurance put her at ease. As they mingled, Emma was introduced to several of Liam's colleagues, and though the conversations were polite, she couldn't shake the feeling that everyone was judging her. She wasn't used to being around this kind of wealth and status, and she felt like a fish out of water. But Liam stayed by her side, his presence grounding her and making her feel less like an outsider. Later in the evening, as the auction began, Liam excused himself to speak with some of his associates. Emma stood by herself, watching as the crowd eagerly bid on art pieces, eager to support the cause. She couldn't help but feel overwhelmed by the glamour of it all, the flashing cameras, the sparkling gowns, the endless sea of high society. But just as she started to feel like she might slip away unnoticed, she saw Liam return, his eyes searching for her across the room. He walked toward her, a sense of urgency in his step. "I've been looking for you," he said, his voice warm yet serious. Emma smiled, relieved to see him. "I was just taking it all in," she replied. "It's a little overwhelming." Liam nodded, his expression softening. "I know. It's a lot to take in. But I'm glad you're here. I want to share this world with you, Emma. I want you to be a part of it, not just on the outside, looking in." She looked up at him, feeling a sense of connection, a feeling of being seen for who she really was. She didn't have to pretend to be something she wasn't. Liam accepted her for everything she was, flaws and all. "I'm glad I'm here too," she said softly, squeezing his hand. "I've been scared, but being with you makes me feel like maybe this is where I'm supposed to be." Liam smiled, a look of genuine affection in his eyes. "I've never been more sure of anything," he said, his voice low but filled with certainty. "You're exactly where you're supposed to be, Emma. With me." In that moment, Emma realized that the life they had was real. It wasn't about the luxury or the high society events, it was about the connection they shared, the trust they were building, and the love that was growing between them. As the night went on, Emma found herself more at ease. She laughed with Liam and his friends, shared stories, and for the first time, she didn't feel like an outsider. She felt like she belonged, because she was exactly where she needed to be. Later that evening, as the gala wound down, Liam took her hand and led her to the balcony, away from the noise of the crowd. The city lights sparkled below them, and for a moment, they were alone in the quiet. "Emma," Liam began, his voice soft but filled with intensity, "I know we've been taking things slow, and I want to respect that. But I need you to know something, what I feel for you is real. I'm not just looking for a companion or someone to fill a role. I want you, Emma. I want a future with you." Emma's heart skipped a beat as his words sank in. She had known that they were building something strong, but hearing him say it so plainly made everything feel even more certain. She smiled up at him, feeling the warmth of his words wrap around her like a comforting embrace. "I want that too, Liam," she whispered. "I want a future with you." And as they stood there, wrapped in the quiet of the night, Emma knew that this was just the beginning of their journey. There would be challenges ahead, there would be doubts to face, but for the first time, she was ready to take them on, with Liam by her side. After the gala, Emma couldn't help but feel like her life was shifting in ways she hadn't expected. The connection she shared with Liam had deepened, and though the world around her seemed to remain the same, she knew she was no longer the same person. The doubts that had once clouded her thoughts were starting to fade, replaced by a quiet confidence in the relationship they were building. She and Liam spent more time together, quiet dinners, long walks through the city, and late-night conversations that lasted for hours. There was no rush, no pressure, just a feeling of being in the right place at the right time. But even though she was more at ease, there was still one thing Emma hadn't fully come to terms with, the reality of Liam's world. One afternoon, Liam invited her to join him for a meeting at his office. Emma had been there a few times, but it was always to pick him up or drop him off. This time, she was going to be with him while he worked. She tried to push down the nervous feeling in her stomach as she stepped into the sleek, modern building where Liam ran his empire. The lobby was polished and full of busy professionals rushing in all directions, and she couldn't help but feel a little out of place. She was just a waitress, a girl who had been struggling to make ends meet for years, and here she was, stepping into a world of high-powered business meetings and million-dollar deals. She glanced at Liam, who was walking confidently beside her, his usual calm and composed demeanor not wavering. "Are you okay?" Liam asked, noticing the tension in her face. Emma forced a smile. "Yeah, I don't know. I still feel a little out of my depth in all of this." Liam chuckled softly, placing a reassuring hand on her back. "I get it. This world can be overwhelming, but you don't have to be anything but yourself. Just be here with me. That's enough." They entered a large conference room where Liam's team was already gathered around a sleek glass table. As they all stood up to greet him, Emma felt a rush of nervous energy. The room was filled with people dressed in sharp suits, each one exuding an air of professionalism that made Emma feel like an outsider. Liam, however, introduced her to everyone with a calm confidence, and before long, Emma found herself laughing and chatting with his colleagues like she had known them for years. She began to realize that it wasn't about the titles or the suits, it was about the people, and the kindness they showed her. As the meeting progressed, Emma sat quietly in the corner, watching Liam in action. He spoke with ease, his voice steady and confident, commanding attention as he discussed business strategies and future plans. It was clear that he was at the top of his game, but what struck Emma most was the way he treated everyone in the room. He listened attentively, valued their opinions, and always made sure to thank them for their hard work. She had always assumed that people in his position would be arrogant or distant, but Liam was different. He made everyone feel valued, and it made her heart swell with pride to be by his side. After the meeting, Liam walked her out to the elevator, and as they stood together in the quiet space, he looked at her with a soft smile. "How do you feel?" he asked, his voice gentle. Emma took a deep breath, her nerves slowly easing. "I think I'm starting to understand why you do what you do. You're good at this, Liam. You make it look easy." Liam laughed softly, running a hand through his hair. "It's not always easy, but I've learned to love what I do. And now, I get to share it with you. That means more to me than you know." As the elevator doors opened, Emma stepped out onto the street, her heart lighter than it had been in a long time. She had been so focused on the differences between their worlds, but today, something had clicked. She didn't need to be part of Liam's business world to be a part of his life. She didn't need to have all the answers or even fully understand his world. All that mattered was the connection they had, the trust they were building, and the love that was slowly growing between them. Later that evening, they sat on the rooftop of Liam's penthouse, the city lights twinkling below them. Emma had always loved the view, but tonight, it felt different. The world didn't seem so big, so intimidating. It felt small and manageable, with Liam by her side. She looked over at him, his gaze fixed on the horizon, and for the first time in weeks, she felt at peace. She didn't need to worry about the future or whether she belonged in his world. All she needed to do was take things one step at a time, and trust that whatever came next, they would face it together. "Liam," she said softly, her voice carrying in the night air. "I don't know what the future holds, but I know I want to face it with you." Liam turned to her, his eyes warm and full of affection. "I feel the same way, Emma. Whatever happens, we'll face it together." In that moment, Emma knew that they were ready for whatever came next. The world may have seemed uncertain, but with Liam by her side, she felt ready to take on anything. Together, they had already built something strong, a foundation of trust, love, and the promise of a future that was theirs to shape. As the weeks passed, Emma felt herself growing more comfortable in Liam's world, but it wasn't without its challenges. There were moments when the differences between their lives were hard to ignore. Liam was still the same kind, thoughtful man she had met, but the more she got to know him, the more she realized how complex his life was. He had responsibilities that weighed heavily on him, things she couldn't fully understand, and sometimes that scared her. She had always believed that love could overcome anything, but the world Liam came from was one of power, expectations, and constant pressure. She wondered if their worlds would collide eventually, and whether she would be enough to bridge the gap. One evening, after a long week, Liam invited Emma to dinner at one of his favorite spots, a cozy little restaurant tucked away in the heart of the city. It was one of those places that had become a sanctuary for him, a quiet retreat from the busy world he navigated every day. As they sat down, the warm candlelight flickering between them, Emma couldn't help but notice the exhaustion in his eyes. She reached across the table, taking his hand gently. "Liam, what's going on?" she asked softly, her voice filled with concern. "You seem distant. Like there's something on your mind." Liam sighed, looking at their hands for a moment before meeting her gaze. "It's just work. There's a lot going on with the company, and sometimes I feel like I'm barely keeping it all together. But I don't want to bring that into our time together. I want to enjoy this, with you." Emma squeezed his hand, her heart aching at the sight of him carrying so much. She could see it now, the weight of his responsibilities, the pressure of managing a business, a life that others depended on. She had never fully understood the magnitude of it until now. "Liam, you don't have to carry it alone. I'm here for you, you know that, right?" He smiled, a soft, tired smile that didn't quite reach his eyes. "I know. I don't want to drag you into my chaos. You've got your own life, your own dreams. I don't want to make you part of this mess." Emma felt a surge of emotion as she listened to him. She had never thought of her life as a separate world from his. Their worlds were different, yes, but that didn't mean they couldn't make it work. She had her own dreams, and Liam had his, but together, they could build something that was uniquely theirs. Liam, she said, her voice firm but kind, we're a team. I'm not going anywhere. And you don't have to keep everything to yourself. If you're feeling overwhelmed, I want to be here for you, to help however I can. Liam looked at her for a long moment, his gaze softening as he took in her words. For the first time in what felt like forever, he seemed to let down his guard. He let out a deep breath, the tension in his shoulders easing just a little. I'm sorry, he whispered. I guess I've been holding everything in for so long, I didn't know how to let anyone in. Emma smiled gently, her heart swelling with affection for him. It's okay, she said, reaching across the table to touch his cheek. You don't have to do it alone anymore. We can face whatever comes, together. The rest of the evening passed in a peaceful quiet. They talked, laughed, and shared stories that made them both forget about the weight of the world for a little while. As they left the restaurant, the cool night air filled their lungs, and for a moment, everything felt right. Emma walked beside Liam, her hand in his, feeling the strength of their connection. But the next morning, everything changed. Emma woke up to the sound of her phone ringing, a strange, unfamiliar number flashing on the screen. She hesitated for a moment before answering, her heart racing. Hello, she said cautiously. Is this Emma Brooks? The voice on the other end asked, the tone professional but urgent. Yes, this is Emma, she replied, her voice tightening with uncertainty. We need to speak with you about Liam Parker. It's urgent. Emma's heart skipped a beat. Her mind raced as she tried to process the words. Liam? What was going on? Why was someone calling her about him? She felt a cold shiver run down her spine. I don't understand, Emma said, her voice trembling. What's happened to him? The voice on the other end hesitated before speaking again, the words coming slowly, as if weighed down with the gravity of what they were about to say. We need to meet with you. There's been an incident involving Liam. Please come to the office right away. Without another word, the line went dead. Emma stood there, frozen, the phone still pressed to her ear. Her mind was racing, and her chest tightened with fear. An incident? What could have happened? She grabbed her coat, her hands shaking, and made her way out the door, her heart pounding in her chest. She had no idea what she was walking into, but she knew one thing, she wasn't going to let anything happen to Liam. Not if she could help it. Emma arrived at Liam's office, her heart pounding in her chest as she stepped out of the car. The city skyline seemed to blur around her, the world moving in slow motion. She barely registered the cold air as it hit her skin, all that mattered was getting inside, getting answers. The elevator ride up to the top floor felt like an eternity. Her hands gripped her phone tightly, the conversation with the mysterious caller still echoing in her mind. An incident involving Liam, she had no idea what that meant, but every possibility terrified her. When the elevator doors opened, she rushed down the hall toward Liam's office, her footsteps echoing in the silence. The receptionist looked up from her desk, startled by the urgency in Emma's pace. Miss Brooks, she asked, her voice hesitant. Liam's expecting you. Emma nodded quickly, not trusting herself to speak. The receptionist gestured toward the large conference room just down the hall. Emma didn't need any more guidance, she moved forward, her mind racing. She pushed open the door to the conference room, and immediately, her gaze fell on Liam. He was sitting at the table, his usual calm demeanor replaced with a look of exhaustion. His suit was rumpled, his tie slightly askew, but when his eyes met hers, relief washed over his face. Emma, he said, his voice hoarse. You're here. She walked toward him, her heart still heavy with worry. Liam, what happened? Why didn't you tell me about this? She asked, her voice filled with concern. I didn't want you to worry, he replied, rubbing a hand over his face. But it's serious. Someone tried to sabotage the company, and it's connected to me. Emma's heart skipped a beat as she processed his words. Sabotage? What does that mean? Is everyone okay? Liam nodded slowly, but the worry in his eyes was undeniable. I'm fine. But some of my team members were targeted, and it's been a mess. I thought I could handle it, but the more I dig into it, the more I realize how deep this goes. Emma sat down across from him, her hands folded in her lap. Who did this, Liam? Who's behind it? Liam leaned back in his chair, his brow furrowing. I'm still trying to figure that out. But I think it's someone from inside the company. Someone who's been trying to take me down for a while. I've been so focused on keeping things running smoothly that I missed the signs. Emma reached across the table, her hand resting gently on his. You don't have to do this alone, you know. I'm here for you, no matter what. We'll figure this out together. Liam looked at her, a grateful smile tugging at the corners of his mouth. I don't deserve you, Emma. I don't know what I'd do without you. You don't have to worry about that, she replied softly. We're in this together. As they sat there, surrounded by the weight of Liam's responsibilities, Emma realized just how much she had come to care for him. She had entered his world thinking it was too big, too complicated, but now she saw it differently. It wasn't about the wealth or the power, what mattered was the person sitting across from her. The person who had opened up to her, who trusted her with his fears and his challenges. They didn't need to have all the answers, not yet. What they needed was each other. As the evening wore on, Liam's team members started to trickle in, ready to work through the crisis. Emma stayed by his side, offering support in every way she could, even if it was just by being there. She knew that this was only the beginning of their journey, that things were going to get harder before they got easier. But she also knew that together, they could face whatever came next. When the meeting ended, Liam walked her to the door of his office. Thank you for being here, he said, his voice filled with quiet gratitude. You've no idea how much it means. To me. Emma smiled up at him, her heart full. I'm always here for you, Liam. We've got this. As she stepped into the elevator, Emma felt a sense of calm settle over her. The road ahead was uncertain, but for the first time in a long time, she wasn't afraid. She wasn't alone. And whatever the future held, she knew she had found something real. Something worth fighting for. Liam. And the life they were building together.